At this time, I'd like to call a meeting to order, the Board of Chosen Freeholders of Middlesex County. Can we all rise, please, and have a moment of silence to keep all our law enforcement, emergency responders, military, in our thoughts and prayers, that they always come home safe, especially during this pandemic, that all our medical...
This meeting is being recorded and or transcribed.
Thank you. For those that can, I ask to please rise and salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
which stands one nation under God,
indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
The notice of this meeting pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-10, has been complied with and shall be entered into the minutes of this meeting.
Roll call.
Freeholder Armwood.
Here.
Freeholder Ascona Barber. Freeholder Ascona Barber. Are you on mute? Freeholder Kenny.
Here.
Freeholder Koppel.
Here.
Freeholder Nara.
Here.
Freeholder Tamaro.
Here.
Freeholder Director Rios.
Here.
Freeholder Ascona Barber.
Here.
Thank you all. Okay, just a reminder, if everyone could keep their phones on mute while the meeting is going on, just to try to keep some order and there's no background noise. So with this way, when someone's speaking, we can all hear their comments. With that being said, we have recognitions.
Yes, first is proclaiming April 2020 as Prevent Child Abuse and Missing Children's Month in Middlesex County. Next is recognizing the 75th anniversary of the Civic League of Greater New Brunswick. Next is proclaiming Denim Day and Sexual Assault Awareness Month in April of 2020. And last is proclaiming April 2020 Alcohol Awareness Month in Middlesex County.
Is there a motion to adopt the resolutions?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Freeholder Armwood, seconded by Freeholder Leslie Koppel. Roll call.
Freeholder Armwood.
Yes.
Freeholder Ascona Barber.
Yes.
Freeholder Kenny.
Yes.
Freeholder Koppel.
Yes. Yes.
Freeholder Nara.
Yes.
Freeholder Tamaro. Freeholder Director Rios.
Yes. Okay, we have minutes for approval.
Yes, the Board of Chosen Freeholders regular meeting, March 19th, 2020 at 7:00 p.m.
Is there a motion?
Motion to adopt the minutes?
Second.
Motion by Freeholder Tamaro, second by Freeholder Koppel. Roll call.
Freeholder Armwood.
Yes.
Freeholder Ascona Barber.
Yes.
Freeholder Kenny.
Yes.
Freeholder Koppel.
Yes.
Freeholder Nara.
Yes.
Freeholder Tamaro.
Yes.
Freeholder Director Rios.
Yes. Okay. At this time, Mr. Kelso, are any resolutions to be added?
There are none.
Any resolutions to be amended?
There are none.
Any to be held?
There are none.
Any resolutions to be voided?
There are none.
Okay. At this time, I'm going to open up the meeting to the public. But before we begin the public portion of this meeting, I would like to advise the public to state your name and address, and when you speak, you have 5 minutes. While the teleconference format of tonight's meeting is unique because of the circumstances that we're experiencing with the coronavirus, we ask that we all maintain the same level of respect and decorum that we have in the Freeholder meeting room by refraining from using profanity or raising our voices. Anyone that does not comply with this policy will be ruled out of order. If I have to say that a second time, you will be muted. Thank you for your patience and cooperation while we use this new format. Is there anyone from the public that would like to comment on any resolutions listed?
Yes, sir, Mr. Director. Charlie Cradaville here.
state your name and address, and you have 5 minutes. Mr. Cradaville, your address?
Thank you, Mr. Director. I live on Saddam Street in New Brunswick. I'm the editor of New Brunswick Today, a community newspaper here in the city, and we're actually broadcasting this audio live for our audience right now. Before I get to my questions on the resolutions, I just want to make sure there will be an opportunity for the public to speak at the end of the meeting as well, right?
Yes.
Thank you. So I do want to ask about 20-510-R. This is for, intersection improvements in my city here at French and Patterson. And I wanted to ask, first of all, what those improvements are. What would that look like?
Okay, I'm going to ask Mr. Sender if he could comment on that for me, please.
Okay, yes, Ron Fenn here, County Engineer. We're going to replace all the signal equipment, make the site ADA compliant, new ramps, new curbing, new sidewalk, milling and paving.
Okay. And it's a good thing we have a traffic signal at that corner. Of course, just really one block up is the situation with the Child Health Institute, where Robert Wood Johnson promised to pay for a traffic signal there at that intersection, but never delivered, even though that was in sworn statements to the Planning Board of New Brunswick. I know I've brought this to your attention, Mr. Sender. Is there any update on holding Robert Wood to that promise to deliver on that? Have you been able to get that resolution, or would you like me to send you a copy?
So we had a meeting with the city, Daniel Burke and Tom Valente. They had a site plan application from the Somerset redevelopment, which is on Somerset Street. And we asked that the traffic report be updated. They sent the traffic report, and the traffic report indicated that a signal is warranted. And we've had discussions with the city through their site plan application that they would request a signal at that location.
Oh, great. So they would request Robert Wood honor their promise to pay for a signal there, right? They're not going to use taxpayer funds to do it, right?
Mr. Cradaville, let's keep the questions towards this resolution, please.
This is the intersection 1 block away. We're talking about, the safety of intersections here. This is, I think, relevant. I'm not, I think Mr. Sender would agree that a traffic signal 1 block away would make a difference to this resolution, right?
This is to the improvements at French and Patterson Street.
Okay. Well, I'm glad to see there's some progress there. Robert Wood Johnson made that promise 18 years ago, and they have, failed to deliver. They've been derelict in that regard. And
comments to the resolution.
I'll move on. The only other one I wanted to ask about is 20-495. This seems like a good project, rental housing for homeless families in downtown New Brunswick, just a couple blocks away from where you guys usually meet. Can I just get a timeline on when that the project might be complete, when a family might move in?
I'm going to ask Jerry McKenzie if she can answer that, or Melissa Lewis.
Unfortunately, this is Jerry McKenzie. Unfortunately, I don't have the timeline with me right now. I'd be happy to provide that to you tomorrow.
Sure. And just, is it for only one family? I know it's like a home. Is it?
Yes,
is it one family? Yeah.
Yes, it's designed to be for one family, someone who's a survivor of domestic violence and their children.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for the work you do, and I'll look forward. Do you have my contact info to get me that timeline?
Yes.
Thank you very much, Ms. McKenzie, and thank you, Board of Freeholders.
Thank you. Anyone else in the public?
Hi, yes, Danielle Moore, 333 Somerset Street.
Okay, you have 5 minutes.
Okay, also my question is going towards French and Patterson Street. Will you please tell me how much this is going to cost and who is paying?
Mr. Sender, can you answer that question, please?
Okay, yes, Danielle, our construction cost estimate for that signal improvement is $740,000.
Oh, my.
Could you repeat your second question, though?
Who is paying for this, the city or Robert Wood Johnson?
The county is paying for this signal.
When was this put in to be done? How long ago?
This project has been under design for several years, and we're reached a point where we want to bid and construct the project at this point.
Well, yes, I surely would love to see the paperwork on that, due to where, like I said, I'm still wondering why you're jumping to French and Patterson Street, where it should be French and Saddam Street, immediate emergency. So yes, I would love to see paperwork on what is the concern that you have to do this first before you do French and Saddam Street.
We've met with the city. We need an agreement and to partner with the city to move forward on French and Saddam Street.
Wow, been waiting almost 2 years or longer for French and Saddam. But yes, somehow I would love to, yes, or even if you can just mail it to me, or I give you my email, or you can give me a call, please, because yes, I sure would like to see the proof of this, how this jumped ahead, no history of any problems here. One more question I do have for you. Due to where you are changing the signal traffic light, will these be...
Which resolution are you talking about?
I'm still talking about French and Patterson Street.
Okay.
So what type of, for the pedestrians, will they still have what? The buttons to press the button, or will they talk to you for the pedestrians to cross?
Yes, they're vibro-tactile, so they work for both the hearing impaired and the visually impaired.
Okay, and then last question, will they be basically close to the walkway where people can see to press the buttons and not far away?
They're generally within 10 feet of the crossing. We don't put them too close to the curb because they get knocked down by cars. So that's why we keep the pedestrian push buttons a little behind the curb.
Okay, thank you for your help. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else in the public?
Motion to close the public portion?
Second.
Motion to close by Fielder Tamaro, second by Fielder Capel. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries. Okay, before we go further, I skipped a little bit, but the reports of freeholders. I apologize, freeholders. Freeholder Deputy Director Ken Armwood.
Thank you, Freeholder Director. Before I get started, just for the public record, I want to thank all of our county staff, everyone from the administration to everyone out in the field for the great job they've been doing in responding to the COVID-19 crisis. People may not know, a lot of the staff have been working hours upon hours and away from their families, and really trying to make sure that our residents here in Middlesex County are safe. I also want to thank the residents who've been abiding by the facts and the science as far as social distancing and cooperating with our staff as far as not congregating in public places. So just all around, I really think as a county, we stepped it up, and I just wanted to say that before I get into my report. From the Department of Business Innovations, Education, and Opportunity, the staff are working with marketing, communications, and government affairs to disseminate information relative to grants, loans, and incentives to businesses in these difficult times. They are returning calls from concerned citizens regarding the calls to list received from various offices and generated from the complaint portal. From the Office of Superintendent of Schools, Kyle Anderson, assisted with medical professional volunteer recruitment through surveying districts on school nurse availability, Facebook, and Twitter. Coordinated COVID-19 school community messaging for confirmed cases. Now that students have been on home study for more than 14 days, this has become significantly reduced. Coordinated an inventory of PPE for all school districts. Drop-offs to the county have begun. From the Office of Career Opportunity, the Office of Career Opportunity continues working with NJ Department of Labor staff to identify customers who recently finished training courses in the medical field. Appropriate job matches will be made according to the needs of employers, such as hospitals and urgent care facilities. The use of virtual learning platforms has enabled staff to maintain a continuity of services to customers enrolled in training programs. From the Arts Institute of Middlesex County, the History Division has completed a digital archive with images and information on hundreds of documents and objects in our collection. The archive is interactive and ready to present to the public. We are looking forward to the approval of a landing page to be hosted on the county's main page. They have been in communication with marketing to compile examples and stories of how artists are helping out with the current crisis. For example, a culinary home chef who is making and distributing food to JFK and the elderly, as well as a quilt maker who has created an online COVID-19 mask tutorial for anyone with a sewing machine to use. In addition, they are working to update our digital platform for artists. The site will be called Middlesex Creates. Lastly, from the Office of Cooperative Extension, the Cooperative Extension of Middlesex County, using Guide by Cell mobile web app to develop virtual tour of Earth Center demonstration gardens within Davidson Mills Pond Park so that they can enjoy a virtual tour of the Earth Center. And Freeholder Director, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Freeholder Armwood. Freeholder Escona-Barber?
Thank you, Director. I also would like to thank the county administration and the staff for all the hard work they all doing during this difficult time. Tonight, I would like to highlight two resolutions that are in the agenda. The American Dream Program. The American Dream Program provides $5,000 in down payment and closing cost assistance for income-eligible first-time home buyers living in Middlesex County. Funding for the program comes from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development annual home allocation to the county. So far in 2020, the county has approved 9 households to receive assistance. Since the program started in 2006, a total over 525 households have benefit. This is a wonderful way to help our residents purchase their first homes. Additionally, information for the American Dream Program can be obtained by contacting the Housing Division of the County's Office of Human Services. That's my report.
Thank you, Freeholder Escona-Barber. Freeholder Charlie Kenny?
Good evening, everybody. I just want to echo the sentiments made by my freeholder colleagues just before me about the great work that's being done by all of our county staff in regards to this situation. All the emergency personnel out there that are responding to calls for people with possible COVID-19, and also to the hospitals and staffs that are out there. Everybody, supermarket workers, the whole 9 yards. Everybody's doing a great job. It's why this country is a great country, and that's all I have tonight, Freeholder Director. Thank you.
Thank you, Freeholder Kenny. Freeholder Leslie Koppel?
Thank you, Director, and a very special happy birthday to you this evening. In the past 5 years, the Finance Department has concentrated efforts and resources in all of its fiscal functions and procedures. Some of our accomplishments include allowing the use of credit card payments for all services provided by the county, shifting from paper-driven filing systems, procedures, and reports to fully electronic paperless processes, using shared file environments for all office records. Introduced remote electronic banking for over 25 locations, educated and requiring staff to embrace and use the latest technology. Moving to state-of-the-art payroll and HR system with web-based access, using all electronic employee filings and allowing for employee self-service. Using all the latest technology such as biometric time clocks where necessary. Most important, the introduction of a brand new fiscal system that has streamlined processes, eliminated paper-based procedures, and enhanced oversight. All our efforts, combined with the planning and hard work of the Middlesex County financial staff, has allowed the Middlesex County fiscal operations to remain at 100% without any breaks in continuity or level of service provided. In accordance with Middlesex County's prevention efforts, all of the finance department staff are currently teleworking from home as well as in the office as needed, always following the social distancing protocol. We all remain committed to ensure that the fiscal operation will not be affected by the current emergency state of affairs. And I'd like to add, as everyone else, just to thank all of the emergency workers and the staff in the county and everyone who's working so hard to pull together to fight this disease. Thank you. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Freeholder Koppel. Freeholder Centinara?
Thank you, Director. From the Department of Public Safety and Health, COVID-19 has changed our lives like we have never experienced. This pandemic health crisis has ceased normal business operations, eliminated social gatherings, and curtailed religious activities and services. Although most of our lives have been altered, our Department of Public Safety and Health continues to work tirelessly around the clock in combating this deadly disease and its effects. The Office of Health Services, in concert with our Offices of Emergency Management and Preparedness, Hazmat, Fire Marshal, Prosecutor, and Sheriff, are working cooperatively with our local, state, and federal partners. Some of our responses include the activation of the county's Emergency Operating Center 7 days a week, the investigation of all reported positive COVID-19 cases within the county, evacuation of the medical population from St. Joseph's Senior Home in Woodbridge, New Jersey, accepting donations from residents, businesses, and social organizations of personal protective equipment to be distributed to first responders. Our Office of Inspections is working with the county's businesses to ensure social distancing by customers and staff, and as well as conducting the first drive-through testing site in Edison on Joyce Kilmer Avenue yesterday, which was incredibly successful. We had 200 spots available and 156 people showed up, and everything went smoothly. There were no long lines, no waits, and all of our staff were able to complete the testing while maintaining their own levels of safety. I just want to advise the public that the county's website contains an abundance of information along with protective measures concerning COVID-19. I ask that everyone continue to practice social distancing and follow the state's mandates in a direct effort to prevent the spread of this virus, and ask everyone to please be safe. And finally, all our county employees have been doing a tremendous job, but I do want to make a special shout out to the Department of Public Safety and Health, because a very large portion of the staff in this department has not been able to work remotely, but are continuing to show up at their places of work or other sites all around the county. And I include them in the list of angel first responders, and I hope all the residents of this county are truly aware of the sacrifices that these employees are making to keep our county safe and operational. That concludes my report, Director.
Thank you, Freeholder Nara. Freeholder Charlie Tamaro?
Thank you, Director. From Parks and Recreation, in response to the COVID-19 pandemic, all park events and picnics are currently suspended until April 30th or maybe beyond. However, our parks and open space will remain open to the public for passive recreation, including roads, parking areas, trails, lakes, and other open space areas. Please be advised that restrooms, comfort stations, playgrounds, dog parks, basketball and tennis courts, the flying field, and similar facilities are closed until further notice in order to protect the public's health and safety. We ask that the public practice social distancing and refrain from large groups while enjoying our parks and open space. Please, it's up to you to keep practicing social distancing so we can keep our parks open. And once the sun comes out, so do the people. So please respect the people that are using the park so we can keep it open. I'm happy to report that work on the island of the beautiful Roosevelt Park is nearly completed. The new bulkhead around the island is finished and will ensure that the future park users will enjoy this unique asset. Although work on the island is almost done, the new pedestrian bridges will not arrive until sometime in June. The island will remain closed until these bridges are replaced. Also around mid-April, the milling and paving of the pathways around the lake is scheduled to begin. Portions of the walkway will remain open during the paving with detours in place. Please be respectful of these work areas during paving. We appreciate your patience while we work to improve our park system. More information can be found on the Middlesex County website in the Parks and Recreation section. I also want to thank all our county staff who has gone way beyond to help out during this national crisis. And I also want to wish Ronnie Rios happy birthday. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Freeholder Tamaro. I just have a few comments to make. I want to echo my colleagues' comments that we have an unbelievable staff administration. I want to thank our administrator, John Polomina, and every department has been impacted. Every employee has been impacted and have made sacrifices to make sure that our county government is functional and operational to the maximum. And our health department and public safety employees, they've really stepped up to the plate. And actually, they're putting themselves in these positions, kind of puts themselves in jeopardy. But you know what? They do it because they love what they do and they love protecting the public and doing the right thing. So I can't thank our employees, all our employees, for making the sacrifices and stepping up to the plate during this worldwide crisis. And I thank them personally. Okay, I'm sorry.
Well said.
Thank you. Okay. At this time, are there any freeholders that have to remove any items from the consent agenda and vote separately? No? Okay, Mr. Kelso? Mr. Kelso?
Yes, Freeholder Director, a motion would then be in order to adopt a consent agenda consisting of resolution numbers 20-477 through resolutions 20-533.
Motion. The consent agenda.
Second.
Motion by Freeholder Tamaro, second by Freeholder Koppel. Roll call.
Freeholder Armwood?
Yes.
Freeholder Ascona-Barber?
Yes.
Freeholder Kenny?
Yes.
Freeholder Koppel?
Yes.
Freeholder Nara?
Yes.
Freeholder Tamaro?
Yes.
Freeholder Director Rios?
Yes. At this time, I open up the meeting to the public, and if anyone has any comments, please state your name and address, and you have 5 minutes.
Yes, sir. Charlie Cradaville, New Brunswick.
Okay, Mr. Cradaville.
So, first of all, I want to thank the freeholders for their reports and thank all the workers who are on the front lines for their service. It is super important, and I am, for one, grateful. First question, is this meeting tonight being recorded by the county?
Yes, it is.
Okay. I attended your March 5th meeting, and I did speak to you there, but I had to leave early, and I was intending to watch the rest of it, but I have encountered a problem where when I try to watch the video from that meeting, it appears that the county has edited out the remarks of at least one speaker. Can you tell me if that's true or why there is a gap in the video? Was there a malfunction or was this purposely somebody being omitted, their remarks being cut from the meeting?
Mr. Cradaville, I would assume, and I don't like to assume, but I would assume and that no one omitted something purposely. These are uncharted waters that we are experiencing right now. Our parents and grandparents did not experience this pandemic. So we made every effort to make our meetings be conducted so we can conduct business and the operation.
I totally understand. If I could just stop you there, I'm not referring to the phone meeting. I'm referring to the March 5th meeting that was in person where I saw you one-on-one. I had to leave early, but it appears that the remarks of at least one person were removed. Can you tell me why that was done?
I can't answer that, but I will have someone get a hold of you tomorrow.
Great. Thank you for that. And then, so for the last meeting, there is no video. Is there going to be an audio recording posted of that meeting?
John
Palavina, can you answer that?
Yep. Yes, that will be out by the end of the week, yes.
Okay, thank you. And then, so this meeting presumably as well. Just want to make a note, as you know, I'm very against the closure and demolition of Lincoln Annex School, and I hope that the Freeholders will do what they can to find an alternate plan. I know a lot of people's worlds have been turned upside down over the past month, including everybody at Robert Wood Johnson Hospital. So I think it's fair to revisit that and put the brakes on that and pause that while we all get through this crisis together. Unfortunately, the Board of Ed and the City Council in New Brunswick don't agree, and they're trying to use the crisis to get this project moved forward. I hope the Freeholders will stand against that and do the right thing here. But I also have to ask about a disturbing story from 2014 that has now made its way through the courts, and we've got a unfortunate tragedy that happened in the county jail. A man named David Yerby lost his life on November 2nd, 2014. He was maced, beaten, hooded, and strapped in a restraint chair. He had a broken neck, and he died of blunt force trauma in the Middlesex County Jail. And these are all things that we knew about from the lawsuit. But now the defendants in the lawsuit, including the county, are going to pay the family $5 million in a settlement. And I'd like Freeholder Nara and maybe you, Mr. Director, to address this settlement. And first of all, I want to know who's paying it out. I've asked your spokesperson for the name of the insurance fund and haven't gotten it. And I also want to know, was anyone on the county payroll actually held accountable for this tragedy? I mean, this man lost his life. You can't get that back. And it seems like the county did something very wrong here because your insurance company is paying out $5 million. Was any employee actually held accountable for this? Were any of the corrections officers held accountable? I know the warden was in charge at the time. Maybe he can address this as well.
I'm going to ask Mr. Kelso to address your questions.
Charlie, as far as the case is concerned, the matter was settled for Middlesex County. I think the case, there are other defendants in that case, as you're aware of, including one of our municipalities, which I believe is still in the case actively. The settlement that was made by Argonaut Insurance Company, and I do know that I responded to you and told you who the insurance company was, so I don't know why you say you didn't know. But the $5 million
I did not receive anything from you. No.
I responded to your email indicating that it was Argonaut Insurance Company. But if you didn't see
Argonaut.
it, the answer is
Okay.
Argonaut Insurance Company. That
Thank you.
represents excess insurance carrier for Middlesex County.
Time's up.
The $5 million that was being paid was a decision that was made by the insurance company. They took over the handling of the matter. The county has no say in what decision the insurance company makes once they do that. The $5 million that's being paid is being paid exclusively by the insurance company. And once again, we had no control over that, and they made that decision for their own reasons.
Thank you. And was anyone held accountable? Any county employee held accountable?
Time is up, Charlie.
I think that's an important question. You should want to know too, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else on the public?
These people could still be on the payroll.
Is anyone else?
Yes, Eric Munoz, Carteret, New Jersey, 3 Kubala Avenue.
Please state. Okay, go ahead. You have 5 minutes, sir.
Yes, Mr. Rios, how you doing? And happy birthday to you. I did not know today was your birthday. I did also realize that you do reside in the same town that I do. As you know, Mayor Ryman, he has, the COVID-19 virus, and hopefully he's doing well. I just had a question actually for you, Director Rios, if you can kind of guide me as to like what's going on here in the county. As you know, Amazon, they have their warehouse here within our city. And currently, as of right now, they're still hiring people from numerous locations. My understanding is that they're actually still doing a drug test by spit swabs in order to see whether the candidate has something in them or not. My question is, if anyone could kind of guide me as to the concern, why haven't we put any type of limit or hiring freeze on Amazon, knowing the fact that this is a pandemic going on? And two, if anyone is being hired currently, has the county said anything in regards for any new employee to be tested for the virus so that way they won't be spreading it to their employees?
Well, first, I'm going to answer one question, and then I will refer it to my health director, Les Jones, but we can't dictate a private entity to put a hiring freeze on. Now, with that being said, I'm going to defer to my health director, Les Jones. Les?
Yes, thank you, Director. Regarding any testing in concert with COVID-19, the person has to be symptomatic in accordance with the guidance from the CDC and the State Health Department. So pre-testing of somebody, unless they're symptomatic, would not be done in this particular case. Thank you for your Director.
And one last question. If we do find businesses, or I guess you could say name businesses that are meeting up or do have an employee that did have a case of COVID-19 and they did not shut down and actually clean their business or actually let other people know about the situation, what should the public do?
Les?
They can contact our call center at 732-745-3100. We are taking those calls, and we are working with those companies to determine, their type of business and what they are doing, because there is a governor's executive order which does allow certain businesses to be open. And we are also working in conjunction with our Department of Business Innovation and Opportunity on these types of cases, so we can make contact with those business, ensure that they're aware of the governor's executive orders and that their businesses are in line with that as well. Thank you, Director.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public?
Danielle Moore,
Yeah,
333 Somerset Street.
Okay, you have 5 minutes.
Hi, first I would like to thank the county, as well as I said at the city council meeting. Thank you for the no turn on red for Jersey Avenue and Handy Street. I thank you for helping making New Brunswick safe. My three questions I do have is for French and Saddam. Would you please give me an update when the light system will be done there?
Ron?
I don't want to use up the whole 5 minutes. Can someone please respond?
Yes, Danielle, I had trouble with the mute button. I apologize. We're getting authorization to bid. We have to make sure with the utility companies that they're ready to do any relocations. There's some issues with staffing of contractors, but we want to be prepared when the time is right to bid this project and construct it. I would foresee that happening by the fall.
Okay, thank you. And then an update for Livingston Avenue. I just wanted to ask, at the traffic lights, will each one be in the same position? Same location where they are now after they're replaced?
No, they will not be in exactly the same spot. We're redoing the signals. They will have new ADA ramps. They'll have slightly different pole locations, but it will be greatly enhanced with striping and visibility.
Okay, thank you. Then my last thing is for the Lincoln Annex School. I will hope you will look into doing this demolition due to where Rutgers at the Board of Education meeting, the Rutgers Union said, wow, please do not sell your school because, wow, we're thinking about changing our mind until you, hello?
Yep, you cut out there for a second.
And where Rutgers Union, they had admitted saying to the Board of Education, do not sell your school until you hear from Rutgers. Where Rutgers is feeling the pressure, meaning, wow, they don't want to send these kids to no contaminated area. So, wow, I hope you do look into, wow, until you receive paperwork from Rutgers, do not put this forward in demolishing the Lincoln Annex School. And I hope due to where, remember, it was live on TV, Channel 12 and a few other channels. The president of DEFCO said, wow, we do not, the Board of Education does not have to make a decision until November. Why are they anxious to do this now? So like I said, something's a little fishy due to where the county, the city, the Board of Education, they're doing this on the sneak tip, not going by orders by the law. But I hope you will, for future, look into, please do not demolish the Lincoln Annex School. Because I have been to this site. The day that I went to the site, wow, I know the young lady said contaminated. But I didn't think, wow, it's so contaminated, wow. And if I could, I would submit my shoes as evidence to show how the chemicals really ate up my shoes, a brand new pair of shoes. Those locations are contaminated. So please, I hope you look forward until you hear from Rutgers again, paperwork-wise. Do not trust the Board of Education. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else in the public?
Hi, Herb Charbus, 411 New Market Road, Piscataway.
Yes, you have 5 minutes, sir.
Thank you. My first comment has to do with and I want to thank you guys for having this conference call. I agree that we're in uncharted territory in society with the virus and all. Where we're not in uncharted territory is the idea of having remote meetings, and because video conference calls have been used in business for at least the last 30 years. And so this format of allowing us to attend a meeting without physically being there, I think is something that should be continued. I hope you guys take that under consideration. A second comment I have is that regarding the 5-minute limit on public comments, when a person asks a question, it seems like their time is being used up by the answer, but that's not the public commenting. The public comment is for 5 minutes. So with respect to that, I'd like to ask 3 questions to get them all in, and then hopefully you guys will answer them after I ask them. My first question or also comment has to do with the things that Freeholder Armwood mentioned about the quilter and the masks, the pattern for the masks. My wife and my daughters are actually setting up a workshop here to create masks, and so I went on the Middlesex Creates website. So I was just looking for that pattern. Is that I would like to know where we can find that pattern, or if that's going to be up anytime soon. That's my first question and comment. Secondly, it has to do with homeless folks. And I'd like to comment or commend Director Rios on his program to house all the homeless veterans in Middlesex County. I think that's a wonderful thing. But now, given the COVID virus, we have a situation where homeless people are much at risk and also risk to the rest of the community. And I've noticed on several visits to New Brunswick, in and around the New Brunswick rail station and the Wellness Garage, the lobby of the Wellness Plaza's garage, that there's homeless people there. So I was wondering if the county has any plans to extend that program to house all homeless veterans, to house all homeless people. And the third, so those are, I'm sorry. The third question, I'd like to also find out about the question Charlie was asking about if anyone in the Middlesex County payroll has been held responsible for the wrongdoings that cost the county $5 million in the settlement. So I have those three questions, and one other comment is that I've been observing and participating in the dialogue around Lincoln Annex School, and the dichotomy of responses or positions is quite striking, where I see that the entire community almost unanimously is rising up in opposition to it, yet any and all officials, county, city, Board of Education, all are either silent or supporting it. And so I just want to know if any of you guys have any comments on why I see that dichotomy of the elected officials having almost unanimously one position and the community having almost unanimously another position. Thank you very much.
Okay, first, Ken Armwood, can you answer that first question about the mask?
Sure. Mr. Tarbos, according to my report, that was on the artist's website. It says the quilt maker who created it has an online COVID-19 mask tutorial for anyone. And I think they're working to get it on our platform of Middlesex Creates, because it says in addition, they are working to update our digital platform for artists. So I don't think it's on our platform yet. It's on the artist's website. What I can do is maybe, Khalid, if you can follow up and maybe get the artist's contact information for Mr. Tarbos.
Okay.
Will do, Field.
Thank you. On the second question, Jerry McKenzie, if you could speak about the homeless and the homeless vets and homeless question that the man had, please.
Yes, thank you, Freeholder Director. Yes, the county does have a comprehensive network for addressing the needs of homeless persons. It's called our Continuum of Care. And since we've begun to put things in place to address the additional people who may be at risk of homelessness or are homeless due to COVID-19, we've put additional funding into that system to respond to some of that need. And we've also put plans in place to expand that, the opportunity for people to be placed in additional units in the county as that need increases. Just as before, anyone who is homeless due to COVID-19 would access our services for homeless persons by calling 211. All services for homeless begin by calling that number.
Okay. And the other question, I'm going to ask Tom Kelso, if you could answer that question. I don't know if
Time's
you're...
up.
Okay, we'll answer his questions.
Yes, Freeholder Director, just briefly, I would say, I don't have any particular information with regard to whether there was any type of disciplinary matters that arose out of that incident, but I would say that we wouldn't discuss it as matters of personnel anyway.
Okay. And lastly, the last question about the Lincoln School, I've said it before, you probably did not hear this, but this is a local issue and we are not taking a position on that. So, anyone else from the public?
Yes, this is Joe Criscola, Administrator, East Brunswick, resident of Old Bridge. Just want to thank the entire county staff for everything that they've done for the residents of the county, and a special shout out to Les Jones and his people, and specifically John Carroll when dealing with the government people. A+ guys, outstanding.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public?
Yes, thank you. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. It's okay.
Please
Okay,
state your
yes,
name and address, and you have 5 minutes.
Yes,
I'm Catherine Hunt. I'm at 121 Lowell Lane in Monroe Township. And I was concerned also as well about the news article, and wondering what is the follow-up that the public can expect. It was very alarming, and I have another perspective too as well, because I'm an RN and I've worked in many areas, and one of them being mental health. And I'm very familiar with police mistreatment and of just mentally ill patients. Unfortunately, police are required to take care in certain instances where they are really not trained, and that since this situation exists, would it be possible to help the police and give some further training, that's appropriate? I think psych tech training at least would be helpful, just to have a background and an ability, or maybe a special detail to work with it. But this is a problem, and it's a problem in probably every city because we don't have adequate mental health care. But we need to do something about it, since we don't have health care that's appropriate. We need to equip our police to be able to handle it. That being said, there's also in the jail, I'm very concerned about communication of disease, especially right now. We have a pandemic, and I'd like to know what are special steps being taken now to get people out of jail that we don't need to have in there, that people aren't, they may just be in there because they can't pay a fine or for some other reason, but they're nonviolent. What are the steps taken to let people out?
You want me to answer your questions?
Yes, thank you.
I could answer. Number one, as far as police training, those are set by guidelines by the Attorney General's office.
Mm-hmm.
So we may be able to make recommendations to them, but at the end of the day, those are policies that are set forth by the Attorney General's office. As far as releasing people from the jail, I'm going to ask Mark Cranston, our warden, to expand on this. But again, that was something that was initiated between conversations and meetings between the warden, the prosecutor's office, the Superior Court judge, and the Attorney General's office, and I believe the governor's office, as far as releasing people from jail on having certain criteria to meet, that they were, let's say, low-level prosecutions that they're in there. But in any event, whether they're prosecutions or not, but they were being held there. So, Mark, can you expand on that a little bit, please?
Yes, Freeholder Director. Just on two things. One, on the first thing there, within the mandated training that you described out of the Attorney General's office, it includes mental health training. And additionally, every officer that's hired gets an initial 40 hours of mental health training. And then additionally, each year they get in-service training for any updates. And as far as the releasing of inmates, we released approximately 85 inmates last week pursuant to a Superior Court judge's order, working with the prosecutor and the defense attorneys to figure out the best way to get rid of anybody from the jail who fit that description, of low-level, nonviolent. So we did it on a case-by-case basis, and we continue to do that each day when there is an opportunity to identify somebody who's close to finishing their sentence and apply good time credits or work credits to them. We do that automatically so that we can release them as soon as possible. And we also just continue to look at special cases, in particular folks that are above 60 years old, people that have underlying health conditions, anyone that would be extra vulnerable to this pandemic. So we have a sort of multifaceted approach, and the idea is to do exactly what you said, which is to try to get people out, if possible, under the safest conditions.
Okay. And may I ask, how else are we applying CDC guidelines in our jail?
Ms. Hudson, your time is up. I would recommend that you forward any question. You can forward any questions to me via email, and I will disperse them to the appropriate department that handles your particular question.
Thank you. And your name?
Ronald.Rios. I'm the Freeholder Director. If you go on our website,
yes,
at middlesexcountynj.gov, and you can email me, and I will, again, if I can't answer it, I will have one of our directors of departments answer your questions.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Should I also do the same with questions about the homeless population?
Yep, all questions you could send to me, and I will gladly forward them to the appropriate department head.
Okay.
Thank you.
Via email, is that good?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Anyone else in the public?
Yep. My name is Julianne LaChance, and my address is 80 College Road West.
In what town?
In Princeton, New Jersey.
Okay, you have 5 minutes.
Yep. So I'm calling to speak about the Lincoln Annex as well, because it's my understanding that your committee is willing to take action in the event that the health of the children is to be put at risk. So I'm going to explain
that's a local project.
Yep.
That's a local project between the local Board of Education and the city of New Brunswick and the Cancer Institute. So we have no jurisdiction on that, whether that project gets completed or not.
My understanding was that at a previous meeting, it was stated that you could step in if there were a public health risk to the students. Is that true?
Les? Or John Palomina?
Yes, we have the responsibility because we oversee New Brunswick, that if there are any health matters that are the concern to New Brunswick and the county, yes, we would be involved in that.
Okay, great. That's what I'm here to speak on. So I'm an engineer by training. I'm currently a PhD student at Princeton University in the Department of Mechanical and Aerospace Engineering, but I've previously worked in industry designing jet engines, helicopters, submarines, and all that stuff. So I've taken the opportunity to look into the soil remedial action permit, as well as a number of related engineering documents for the site at 131 Jersey Ave, which is one of the 2 proposed sites for the Lincoln Annex redevelopment. And I'm very concerned by the contamination levels at this site, and I wanted to try to explain to you why this poses such a highly severe health risk to the students. Are you aware of the contamination levels at the site? Because I can just be brief if you're already informed about this matter.
If you want to forward that information to us, you could forward it to us.
Okay, so if you haven't been, if this hasn't been communicated to you yet, both the groundwater and the soil at this site are highly contaminated. Despite the fact that the soil has been under remediation for more than a decade, there are still 10 contaminants above even non-residential direct contact criteria, most of which are carcinogenic, including benzoanthracene, benzofluoranthene, benzopyrene, and so on, including arsenic and lead, which are, of course, known poisons. The soil also contains EPHs. These are spilled oil and related compounds above residential levels, and the groundwater is highly contaminated with MTBEs and arsenic and lead and other PAHs. And the reason why these chemicals in particular pose such a severe health risk is that many of them pose a vapor intrusion risk. So even if DevCo comes in and performs the remediation that they're legally required to do, the risk will still persist because vapor intrusion risk indicate, what we mean when we say this is that the chemicals that remain present in the soil can enter into their vapor form and, invade into the airspace within the proposed school. And they can enter into the indoor airspace through cracks in the foundation, gaps between the foundation corners, and utility inlets. So even if the school is built, they're going to have to put in engineering controls, which require extremely, frequent investigations. And if any of these fail, like the current engineering control has failed at the current 131 Jersey Ave site, the students will be exposed to all of these confirmed carcinogens. So this is very seriously a public health matter, and I do urge you to step in and get involved. I hope this was clear. Additionally, we know that the second proposed site at 50 Jersey Ave is likely to be highly contaminated as well. When I walked around the edge of this property, I noticed 2 or 3 monitoring wells, indicating that the groundwater there is highly contaminated. And I should mention also at 131 Jersey Ave, there is the presence of off-site contamination.
Thank you.
It is not
for your
possible for
comments.
them to fully remediate. Okay.
Thank you
please
for your comments.
take
Thank
action
you.
here. Yep.
Anyone else in the public?
Hi, I'm Linda Stork. Well,
Please
Park
state your
Boulevard.
address and you have 5 minutes.
12 Park Boulevard, New Brunswick, New Jersey. Yes. So, yes, so we have the reports now. One of the members of the coalition filed an Oprah request and got hundreds of pages about the condition of these properties, which are being offered as the only 2 alternatives, and are on, I think, besides overseeing the public health of students in your county, this is a county road, Jersey Ave, and the only 2 sites being put up as possibilities are both on Jersey Ave, both highly toxic. Julie didn't get a chance to mention that in Rhode Island, it would be illegal to even build a school, on top of a site like that. It's not even allowed. It's such a clear and present danger, and now, we actually have the studies to show it. Besides the road itself not being a good, that's a very industrial area, a lot of big trucks in and out. Not really where you'd put a school at all, and it's certainly not in our neighborhood. The whole idea is that we have a neighborhood school, and so there's no need for all of this. And as I say, the reports are in about how dangerous this would be, and the thought that if my kids had been a little younger, they would have been. It's not acceptable. It's so dangerous and so unnecessary, and so I don't even understand why such a thing would be considered. For us to be told that it's still in our neighborhood, that is not anybody's neighborhood, and it's dangerous to children. Like, why would we do something like that? Both traffic-wise and the nature of that road, and with the chemical danger. The owner had given up on that property. He tried for 10 years to remediate, and he couldn't, and in fact had not even maintained the concrete has cracked. That was supposed to be capped to keep all that stuff from coming up. No, it was supposed to be monitored, and it hasn't been. The concrete is cracked, all that stuff is coming up. When it rains, it floods, and all that nasty water comes out all over the place, and from there's running water on that property too, and which, what could they do about that? It doesn't even start on the property or end on the property, but also, so yeah, it's dangerous from a number of perspectives to our kids, and it also just seems so callous that in order to have something good, a cancer center, you would be willing to put our kids at risk of getting cancer. That's unimaginable to make a trade-off like that. And I really hope that you will step in, because we are not getting, the planning board was split in there, but they don't have the power. They just make a recommendation to the city council. They were narrowly in favor. The city council put it right through. The Board of Ed is undoubtedly going to put it through. They're saying the community is making a choice. They have some secret committee, we don't even know who's on it, deciding only between these 2 sites, which are both unacceptable. And that owner that had given up on that property and let it be sold at tax sale, he, for some reason, last spring, decided to go get it back. So, and we know that this project has been in the works for a while, even though they were calling us rumor mongers and saying, no, no, no. Yes, yes, yes. Been in the works for years. And he found out about it last spring and went and paid the back taxes and got that property back. Why? Because they figured this was a done deal. They thought that the community, you know, that we were just going to accept this, and no, it's not acceptable. So we're asking if you guys, and by the way, thank you for all the work you're doing to keep us safe. I really appreciate it. You guys personally, and plus all the county workers. It's so great, and we appreciate it so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in the public? Is there a motion to close?
Motion to close the public portion.
Second?
Second.
Freeholder Tamaro, seconded by Freeholder Leslie Koppel. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Motion by Freeholder Tamaro, second by Freeholder Koppel. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Meeting adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you. Happy birthday.
Have a nice birthday.
Thank you.
Happy
Good night.
birthday, Mr. Dove.
Happy birthday, man.
This meeting is no longer being recorded or transcribed.